Every Hollywood icon guards a personal history that the spotlights failed to illuminate. In 1958, amid the arid landscapes of old Tucson studios, a fledgling performer named Angie Dickinson uncovered a remarkable side to the teenage singing phenomenon, Ricky Nelson, a side that would profoundly influence her for life. For more than 6 decades, Dickinson remained silent concerning the subtle details she encountered while filming Rio Bravo. The thoughtful minor actions, the personal handwritten messages, the genuine moments when observers were absent. Her discovery completely alters the typical perception you hold of one of show business's most cherished figures. While the rest of the planet recognized Ricky Nelson, the celebrated musician, Angie came to know Ricky Nelson, the genuine individual. And that distinction, it is guaranteed to render you speechless. You see, there was a particular thing Ricky performed daily that had an uplifting, transformative effect on the entire production team. Something astonishingly simple, yet immensely impactful, which continues to inspire deep emotion in Angie, even after several decades. What was this secret action? And why did she elect to wait until this moment to reveal the history? Continue reading, because the forthcoming revelation will redefine every preconception you had about the authentic Ricky Nelson. In 1958, the atmosphere at old Tucson studios vibrated with a unique energy, the kind that only heralds the onset of movie magic. The set of Rio Bravo was alive with anticipation, and there was excellent justification for it. Director Howard Hawks had assembled an ensemble cast that represented the absolute elite of American film. John Wayne, the undeniable sovereign of the Western genre. Dean Martin, the silky-voiced crooner successfully transitioning to acting. And alongside them were the fresh faces, 2 promising artists who were unaware that their collaboration was destined for cinematic immortality. Angie Dickinson was understandably nervous. She found herself, a young actress, stepping onto a colossal stage, encircled by monumental figures who had been making motion pictures since before her birth. The pressure was intense, palpable. Each scene was critical. Every line delivery could determine the success or failure of her nascent profession. Yet, what truly created her anxiety wasn't the lens of the camera or the dialogue pages. It was the concern of successfully integrating with such an established, formidable group. And then there was Ricky Nelson. Merely 18 years old, he had already achieved international fame. His record albums dominated the musical charts. His attractive face adorned countless magazine covers. Adolescent girls across the nation screamed his name at sold-out concert venues. But here is the critical fact that astonished everyone, including Dickinson. When he initially stepped onto the sun-baked location, there was an immediate difference in his demeanor. Most youthful idols from that era carried themselves with an arrogant certainty. They understood their market value. They expected preferential treatment. They isolated themselves, surrounded solely by agents and flatterers. But Ricky, he did something utterly unexpected. He approached the crew members directly and personally introduced himself. Not Ricky Nelson, the global superstar, but merely Ricky, a humble young man thrilled to participate in his very first Western. Angie observed this interaction with profound fascination. Here stood someone who could have effortlessly relied on his celebrity, yet he was earnestly inquiring of the lighting technicians regarding their specialized equipment. He was engaging the stunt coordinators in discussions about their action methodology. He extended the identical, sincere courtesy to every person present, from the celebrated director down to the youthful assistant fetching refreshments. The dynamic Hawks cultivated was vital to the environment. He possessed a well-known reputation for promoting teamwork over rigid hierarchy. He specifically wanted his actors to actively listen to one another, to jointly construct something truthful. And somehow, Ricky's inherent modesty integrated flawlessly into this larger vision. However, what truly captured Angie's attention transcended Ricky's simple politeness. It was his deep-seated curiosity. During pauses between technical setups, while other cast members might retreat privately to their trailers or gather with their representation, Ricky would wander across the set asking questions. How did the cinematographer achieve that specific visual perspective? What elements made the illumination appear so dramatic? Could he observe the fight choreography rehearsal from a closer viewpoint? This behavior was not what Angie had anticipated from a chart-topping musical sensation making his debut film performance. This was clearly someone genuinely eager to master the craft, to evolve, to improve his performance abilities. As their initial shared scenes approached, Angie found herself intrigued by a completely separate matter. What was this performer authentically like once the cameras ceased their operation? The ultimate answer to this query would shock her even more intensely than she could have ever envisioned. Because while Ricky's public presentation was defined by beaming smiles and effortless charm, what Angie uncovered was far more substantive. Something that would permanently alter not only her judgment of him, but also her methodology toward her own acting vocation for decades ahead. The characteristic that first made an impact on Angie about Ricky Nelson was not his recognizable singing voice or his flawlessly magazine-worthy appearance. It was the manner in which he navigated the professional environment with such unassuming naturalness. In a profession built upon self-importance and manufactured reputation, Ricky offered a refreshing contrast. While various other prominent figures demanded exclusive privileges or deliberately maintained an aloof distance, Ricky implemented an action that perplexed almost everyone. He regarded the entire production area as a schoolroom, and every single individual present as a helpful instructor. Visualize the scenario. It is day 3 of principal photography, and the technical team is preparing for a challenging sequence necessitating multiple concurrent camera angles. A majority of actors would certainly be inside their assigned mobile homes, remaining comfortable and conserving necessary energy. But where was Ricky? Crouched right next to the principal camera operator, soliciting precise questions regarding optimal lens selections and the planned composition of the shot. Not because it was expected of him, but because he possessed an honest desire to comprehend the complex process of how movies are constructed. Angie observed this identical pattern recurring consistently, day after day. During complex lighting adjustments, Ricky conversed with the chief lighting technicians about how specialized methods yielded distinct emotional moods. Whenever the sound engineering department was calibrating audio levels, he inquired about precise microphone placement and the intricacies of audio quality. He approached motion pictures with the same earnestness a zealous scholar approaches an academic discipline they adore, with ceaseless inquiry and absolutely zero arrogance. Despite his teen idol status, Ricky was defined by his extraordinary professionalism. He was punctual, always arrived prepared, and absorbed director Howard Hawks's guidance with focus. Unlike performers who created stress, Ricky's steadfast work ethic elevated the entire set's commitment. He earned genuine respect because he didn't leverage his fame. He simply delivered maximum effort out of respect for his fellow artists. Beyond the work, his true character shone through in small, compassionate acts, discreetly checking on a strained crew member or helping with heavy equipment, demonstrating a deep, unobserved integrity. Angie slowly understood that Ricky's humility wasn't a PR strategy, but his inherent self. She was deeply impressed by how skillfully he managed the intense pressure of his career-defining film, Rio Bravo, channeling it into a resolute commitment to professionalism. Watching him navigate the set taught her a profound truth. Authentic professionalism is not demanded. It is earned through one's actions, attitude, and respect for everyone. The true masterclass, however, came 3 weeks later. Angie found a small, handwritten note from Ricky on her chair, praising her stellar performance from the previous day. This wasn't simple Hollywood courtesy. The scene he complimented was one they hadn't shared, meaning he had invested time to notice her dedicated work and privately communicate that her efforts truly mattered to him. This action, performed when he believed he was unobserved, cemented the understanding that he was a celebrity who hadn't sacrificed his core humanity. And this was not an isolated occurrence. Over the subsequent weeks, Angie gradually realized that these small, personalized notes had become Ricky's characteristic signature. Not ostentatious public displays or grandiose shows of general support, but private, quiet acknowledgments that communicated to people their persistent hard work was seen and deeply valued. A dedicated grip who had labored extra hours to optimize a difficult camera movement would later discover a note thanking him for his detailed commitment. A costume assistant who had painstakingly executed a rapid last-minute alteration would find a personal message praising her rigorous attention to minute detail. Ricky's generosity wasn't just in words, he had impeccable, perfect timing. During grueling 14-hour days, when fatigue and short tempers were rampant, he had an innate ability to sense when the crew needed a lift. He'd nonchalantly pick up his guitar and gently strum a well-known melody. Not a performance, but an unassuming soundtrack that lightened the demanding labor. Alternatively, he'd interject a flawlessly timed joke, generating shared laughter that dissolved tension without disrupting momentum. These weren't calculated acts. They arose from his genuine concern for the people around him. Angie was struck by the positive, cascading effect of his approach. Crew members, who usually focused only on their own tasks, started looking out for each other. Assistant directors became more patient. Even the famously demanding John Wayne was observed smiling and taking time to explain technical elements to newer actors. Ricky introduced a new energy to the set, one that quietly communicated, "We are united in this endeavor, and the contribution of every single person is necessary." This was solidified during a disastrously complicated sequence shoot. Everything was going wrong. Changing light due to clouds, audio interference from a distant radio tower, and rising stress. Instead of showing impatience, Ricky took unexpected action. He politely began asking focused questions about the specific technical challenges. He didn't have the expertise to fix them, but he was honestly curious. He spent significant time with the sound engineer and the lighting crew, learning about their struggles. His authentic interest transformed what could have been a miserable day into an unexpected, spontaneous professional learning experience. Ricky's quiet, decent leadership during a tough day forged a stronger, more energized crew, showing Angie a rare style of influence, elevating the team from within rather than dictating orders. His consistent humanity built the collaborative professionalism needed to create truly iconic films. This became Angie's blueprint for her own career. However, it was their private exchanges that were most impactful. 4 weeks into filming, they struggled with a demanding scene, lacking the necessary emotional spark. With the director's concern mounting, Ricky didn't focus on his own performance or the repeated takes. Instead, he discreetly pulled Angie aside, not to run lines, but to genuinely explore the deeper feelings their characters were experiencing. In what became the most generous and supportive professional collaboration Angie had ever known, Ricky approached her not as the star assisting the novice, but with sincere curiosity about her interpretation, working to jointly construct an emotional narrative neither could have achieved alone. Ricky challenged the surface-level dialogue, leading a 20-minute discussion on the character's deeper psychological subtext and past experiences. This transformed their next take into something authentic and deeply alive, capturing the magic the director, Hawks, wanted. From then on, Angie and Ricky developed a seamless creative shorthand, making their scenes effortless through nonverbal communication and subtle adjustments. Their partnership extended off-screen, where they became reciprocal sounding boards for one another, sharing candid professional insights rather than industry gossip. Ricky, the least experienced cast member, strategically positioned himself as a dedicated student, absorbing knowledge from legends like John Wayne and Dean Martin without needing to assert his own celebrity. This profound professional humility generated an entirely unexpected working dynamic. The veteran performers began investing extra personal time into assisting his professional growth. Not because they felt a formal obligation, but specifically because his honest eagerness to improve was immediately infectious. Wayne began demonstrating subtle, practical techniques for effectively conveying authority without resorting to melodramatic overacting. Martin shared crucial insights regarding how to locate the inherent musicality within dialogue delivery. Ricky's emotional intelligence immediately impressed Angie. He saw seeking professional help as a sign of wisdom, not weakness, and his openness about his inexperience prompted established actors to support him. Their friendship deepened through shared professional discovery, as they found quiet places on set to recover and enjoy each other's company. Their bond wasn't romantic, it was a creative alliance built on mutual respect and genuine concern, which Angie would later call one of her most effective partnerships. It was based on honesty, allowing them to freely challenge each other's choices with absolute professional trust. This foundation was vital for tackling the film's most emotionally demanding scenes, and it revealed another impressive dimension of Ricky's character. 65 years later, reflecting on the experience on the Rio Bravo set, Angie Dickinson is ready to share the lessons she learned about professional excellence. While many ask about icons like John Wayne or Dean Martin, Angie says the person who most profoundly influenced her professional philosophy was Ricky, who was only 18. He taught her fundamental lessons about integrity and character that she still uses today. His exemplary approach extended beyond the set, as Angie began treating every single crew member as an essential part of the creative endeavor. Throughout her career, in films like Point Blank and the series Policewoman, she consciously prioritized memorizing names, inquiring about families, and recognizing the indispensable contributions of everyone on the crew. As Angie clearly articulates it, Ricky demonstrated to her that being a professional is not fundamentally about maintaining aloof distance or aggressively asserting a hierarchical position. It is entirely about meticulously fostering a working environment where every single person can successfully execute their best work through demonstrating genuine, authentic interest in their colleagues, not through empty, grand gestures or formal, aggressive demands for professional deference. This powerful philosophy consistently served Angie exceptionally well throughout her successful career, but it became especially crucial as she gradually moved into more prominent professional roles and eventually cemented her position as a major star in her own right. She fully credits Ricky's lasting example with successfully guiding her through the relentless pressures of widespread fame, without ever losing sight of what truly mattered: the professional work itself and the dedicated people whose joint efforts helped bring that work to authentic fruition.